Billy, some big recruiting news for the Hoops team for Will Wade.
Yes.
We're not going to make any comment on Will Wade's recruiting practices. That story died last year, I believe.
Yeah.
Not doing
People
any more of
still
that,
love
but
to kick it.
he's still out there and he's still grinding and he's still bringing in top 100 recruits.
Yeah, so let's start with Eric Gaines, the 2020 point guard, and this is actually a great story of evaluation, monitoring somebody that you've had your eye on for a while now, because Eric was hurt kind of through AAU season and kind of banged up and wasn't able to really emerge like you hear of a lot of these guys emerging over the summers on these big-time AAU circuits. 6'3", 170-pound guard, now in the top 100 because of his senior season, just exploding. And Will and Bill Armstrong, who recruited him for LSU, went and saw him, countless times. They did their research. They really checked him out, made sure he was healthy, and he has just been tremendous this whole high school basketball season and plays a lot of minutes and puts the team on his back. And so they brought him in for an official visit this past weekend, and kind of how football recruiting goes with official visits. Everybody's always wondering, is he going to commit after the visit? Is he going to commit on the spot? And sure enough, Eric Gaines commits to LSU, and he's somebody that has creativity, can play the point guard position, which is really important. A 2-point guard class with Jalen Cook and Eric Gaines paired together in the 2020 class. And then you add in Cam Thomas, who's one of the best guards in the country, one of the best scorers in the country, a 5-star recruit. Those three are going to be awesome. And look, I'm not going to count it out that Javonte Smart will be back next year, and you have a veteran guard like that coming back to kind of help bring along Cam, bring along Jalen Cook, bring along Eric Gaines. That'd be huge. And then the one thing I'll leave people with about Eric is, I mentioned he's 170 pounds. Greg Golden is going to be put to the test on him to build him up, add some weight on him, get him ready for the grind. I'm not necessarily sure he's going to be somebody that, as a true freshman, steps in right away and plays major minutes. Maybe even he gets a redshirt year. But that's not an indictment on his future, because he is really, really talented. He has a chance to be one of the better guards we've seen here in the last few years. So that's Eric Gaines, 2020 point guard commit. Then Jarrell Colbert, the 2021 big man, committed on Sunday, just a few hours after Eric did, and took an official visit to LSU in December, and has been high on LSU for a long time. He's been on the national scene for the better part of 2 or 3 years now. Everybody's known who Jarrell Colbert is. 6'9", 210 pounds, committed over offers from Oklahoma, Arkansas, Baylor, and just plenty of others. So they get him early. He's going to stay in the 2021 class, so a really strong building block for Will Wade to start that 2021 class.
When you back to this year's team, when you look at what is the most important thing that has to go right for them to make an NCAA tournament run?
I think it's Darius Days. I think when LSU's at its best, he's making threes, he's not in foul trouble, he's efficient, because that opens things up for Skylar, Javonte, Trendon. Emmett has been very good when he catches the ball close. I think he needs to lay off the three-point shooting, which he hasn't done much, but his game is playing real close to the basket, because for the most part, he shoots at a really high clip when he gets the ball down low. So Darius kind of opens everything up for LSU. When he's at his best, LSU's at its best, and that's the key for me is Darius Days having a terrific SEC tournament, final 2 games, and I think they can probably win both without Darius being at his best. But the SEC tournament and the NCAA tournament, Darius Days needs to step up in a big way for LSU.
Because you look at Skylar Mays as a given. If he doesn't play well, they're not going anywhere.
Yeah.
Same thing with Javonte Smart. Do you see them continuing? Do you think they are? Well, I always look at versatility as such a big thing in the NCAA tournament. Teams that can play big, play small, because the one thing that could always derail you is a bad matchup. Does this LSU team have that ingredient? Because last year I felt like they could play as big as anybody in the country, or they could be a little bit smaller and put more shooters on the court. I thought that was really what made them dangerous. How does this team stack up in that regard? Yeah,
I think defensively that's the big concern is hitting that bad matchup, and Will has kind of said this. He kind of called it last year before everything went down. But when LSU goes out this year, it's going to be to a really efficient, ball-moving, three-point shooting team. I think anybody who's watched LSU can agree with that. That's not rocket science. So it's all about matchups, like you said. And I think when you get into the NCAA tournament, if you face some of those elite guards, and teams that can really move the ball and have multiple ball handlers and some speed, I think, as well. I think speed can kind of hurt LSU when you talk about driving and kicking and things like that. That's kind of the concern for me with this team when they get into the NCAA tournament. And I mean, it's not really surprising. Teams have been able to hit threes at a pretty impressive clip against LSU. So a really high-quality three-point shooting team with multiple guards that can handle the ball, that's going to create issues for them.